Aren't you excited about this? See, I knew, why worry about the climate changing when what we can do is just invent new types of corn to eat. We don't need to worry about the climate changing. Don't worry, we got that shit. What we really need to do is invent a new type of corn. And as you can see, this new corn, instead of being 12 feet, it's like
on about 30,000 acres
Look at
throughout
this.
the Midwest are testing a new kind of corn. It's called short corn, and
Short
you can
corn.
see why. It's about half the size as what we would normally see out on farms throughout the U.S. The short corn has some big advantages. The biggest one is you can withstand.
Short corn has big advantages. That they kind of a missed opportunity on the headline there, don't you think? Short corn, big advantages. Here we go.
Wind events better. We've been having a lot of those in the Midwest. The second thing is you can just grow more of it on the same amount of land. And that's especially important at a time where farmers are getting some really pretty poor prices for the corn that they grow.
The ear height's a lot lower on our short corn, which is where most of the weight's at. So that's keeping us.
So we're getting more corn for a smaller amount of land and that's really good for farmers because they're getting abysmally low dollar amounts for the amount of corn they're growing. How can we upsell this corn? I know. We'll get people to eat more flesh. If we get people to eat more animal flesh, then we can upcycle the corn through the belly of a beggar. And that's a Shakespeare quote. You know what I mean? Through the belly of the beast, we can upgrade the corn. You know what I mean? Because it takes something like 16 pounds of grain to make 1 pound of cow flesh. So we just grow more corn and then we try to sell more flesh, you see. Yeah, I know it's bad for the animals and it's bad for the environment and it will exacerbate the whole global warming problem, but how else are we going to offload all of this corn? This is why capitalism is broken, you see. If we are only pursuing profit, if that's all we want to do is just make more profit, then we're going to have to grow more corn. What about competition? Won't that drive costs down? Yeah. Well, then we'll have to subsidize, right? Yeah, but we don't just subsidize. We usually want to do other things, like we'll subsidize the corn in order to give it to cows so that the cow flesh price stays down. You see, it's just a dirty cycle.
It's a lot less chance of green snap or lodging, especially late season. We feel a lot more comfortable with leaving this hybrid out in the field a lot longer compared to this big, tall, lengthy one. We had the derecho come through in 2020. It was
I love the way they talk out there. Derecho or derecho? They had the derecho come by in there. The derecho storm was a big, long, straight line of a storm that comes and just wipes out farmland. It just breaks all, what he called green snap. It just breaks all the corn down. So then there's no corn to feed to animals and humans. Mostly animals.
You know, it changed a lot of people's lives the next morning when you woke up, or that afternoon when you saw it and drove around. It was a real mess. A lot of stuff destroyed, and most of the corn crop was pretty well flat. Nebraska had an event last year where their short corn was pretty much 90 to 100% stand, and the tall corns beside it were 30 to 40. I feel like the last 2 years, it's been some of our better looking corn out of the gate. It's so much more denser with the extra population that, you know, it helps on that end. Not only that, it grows the same till row close, so it helps with weed control too, because you have more plants out there and less sunlight hitting the ground.
Oh, no more
real
weeds.
Low corn market, I think, you know, some of our best yields are probably going to come off of our short corn, where we push that envelope a little bit more on fertilizer and on population.
Perfect. So we're going to grow more corn per acre. And meanwhile, we're also going to have a ton more. So no more weeds either, which is great. You know, we don't want those dang weeds. Weeds aren't paying the rent, are they? No, can't have these weeds. The corn zone, everything is going crazy over here. This was developed by Bayer Crop Science. It's being tested about 30,000 acres right now. They're saying within the next couple of years, we're going to see more and more of this. They test it by flying over fields with helicopters to see how the plants handle the wind. And it can withstand winds of over 50 miles per hour. Hey, You know, that's a good corn. It's also, they say smaller stalks could also lead to less water use at a time of growing drought concerns, huh? Less water use because you don't have all that, the water doesn't have to travel up the giant stalk. Hey, US farmers grow corn in about 90 million acres. That's 36 million hectares each year, usually making it the nation's largest crop. So it's hard to overstate the importance of a potential large scale shift to smaller stature corn. Last year, US farmers grew more than 400 tons, 363 metric tons of corn, most of which was used for animal feed, the fuel additive ethanol, or exported to other countries. Corn. We're pretty corny out here. I think we should. I like the idea of innovation, right? But shouldn't we be worrying a little bit more about still trying to? Are we just giving up on this climate change thing? Am I the last one to the party? We're just giving up on that whole thing. We're like, yeah, climate change is here. We're all gonna die. The world's gonna melt, and we're growing different types of corn to compensate for that. Oh, Bartleby. Oh, humanity.